Gregory Porter.
Nigel Williams.
How are you, sir?
I'm good, man.
Now, I know there have been all sorts of stories told about you, put out on the internet and everything like that. But am I right in saying if it wasn't for that shoulder, you'd be playing football?
Yes, that would be true. If it wasn't for that shoulder dislocation and torn rotator cuff, yes, I would be. But I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad,
Yeah. It's difficult to ask somebody to choose, but, I'm thinking your whole career so far was an accident waiting to happen. Because it's not just that, is it? It's Kamal Kenyatta, basically bumping into him, him going, well, okay, I'm doing this album with Hubert Laws. Why don't you come along?
Yeah.
You singing some Nat King Cole. Yeah. That's a bit good. We'll put on a bonus track. We'll have him on there.
Yeah.
His sister's there, goes, well, he's a bit good. Oh, no, I'm going to be doing this new show.
Uh-huh.
You get the role in that.
Right.
And here you are.
Yeah. It's really interesting, which is why I keep everything kind of organic in my life. I kind of let the weeds grow because you never know if that weed is going to grow into a beautiful flower.
Because for some people, I mean, the end of a football career, well, that's it then.
Yeah.
I'm done now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do
nothing. So, I sat on the steps and sang the blues, my shoulder's no good. What am I going to do with my life? There you go.
Wow. I mean, do you wake up some mornings and think, now that must have been all a dream because stuff, you can't make that stuff up.
Well, everything happens for a reason, it really does.
Now you're here. You have earlier this week done Birmingham. I bet you said Birmingham though, didn't you? Yeah.
I did, and then someone corrected me. It's like you forget a bunch of those letters in the middle, and he said Birmingham. I was like, oh, okay.
Yes. Oh, well, did they try and teach you the accent? Because the West Midlands accent, you see, I can't really do, but they sort of do a sort of boobie type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's how they say it. How would you make of, jazz? It's an American art, and yet we seem to be embracing it, maybe a little better, if I could say.
Yeah. Well, it's loved and appreciated in the States, but here. In the UK and in Europe in general, it is really loved. When I come to London, my head is always turning, and I'm always saying, "Wow, what beautiful women! What incredible, beautiful-looking people." But, when a guy from London comes to New York, he says the same thing. So maybe it's because I'm, No, it's not that. It's a sound, it's an organic sound that comes, if it's played purely, it comes from the heart. And, there's not a culture on the face of the earth that doesn't want to agree with something or someone that's coming from a place of honesty,
Yeah,
so.
And that's the thing. I mean, you've really bared your soul.
Yeah.
In the past, for instance, the Nat King Cole thing goes right back to your childhood, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And am I right in saying you wrote a show which was basically partially true about your life, where you obsessed about Nat King Cole so much that you thought he was actually your dad.
Yeah.
Was that what you really thought was a kid?
That's all the way true.
Yeah.
I imagined Nat King Cole as my father when I was a kid, after being really sophisticated in understanding of my father's absence. I remember putting on Nat King Cole's albums and hearing this rich voice coming out sounding like fatherly advice, Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again. Smile though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. There was a boy. Nature Boy is fatherly advice. If you listen to those songs, they're fatherly advice. They're life stories. There's life lessons.
Yes.
And I was taking them that way. Yeah. And I didn't have the concept of I didn't. My mother wasn't married, and I didn't have the concept of a mother and father, a woman and man love at the time. So I would listen to these songs, and some of those love songs of longing you know, what'll I do when you are far away and I am blue? What'll I do? That was the absence that I felt from my father. And it felt like I was like this. I made it into just like what everybody else does with a song. They take it and they shape it to their lives.
Yeah.
So Nat King Cole was singing about when he was singing a song, a love song about some relationship that broke apart
Yes.
or that didn't work out or wasn't right. He was singing about uh, myself and my father. Those lyrics back then were so very unspecific too.
Yes.
You know, it was always about
Yeah.
it was about I was standing there and you walked away. You know, that could
Happens to a
very
lot of
much be
people.
my father standing there and then walking away. You know,
Yeah.
I saw him just a few times but was really needing and wanting him in my life. And you know, so there was that to give some kind of like, you know, spiritual healing, you know.
When you sing Nat King Cole, though, his voice is right there. I mean, you can really do it. Can't you?
Yeah.
What does Natalie think? Has she heard that?
You know, I don't, I don't know. He had another daughter who I think has now passed away, Carol. I got to speak to her one time, and I told her, I said, you know, I used to borrow your
Your
father. I told her, I said, you know, he was always on the album covers looking so cool, and you know, looking
Yeah.
like somebody's daddy sitting near the fire.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and she was impressed. You know, I had written these songs, you know, in honor of him, in a way. I wrote just one of the lyric was, um, "You never knew after your final hour there'd be this unintended consequence of you being you." The song is called "Unintended Consequence," and it's about you know when he sat at a microphone singing. These songs, he didn't know that in 19, you know, in the late 70s, a little boy would be sitting near
Yeah.
some big. After he's dead and gone,
Yeah.
I'm sitting next to this big console stereo, playing my mother's albums, which I was forbidden to do, imagining him as some male figure, father figure in my life. He couldn't imagine that.
No.
And you don't know what you're doing when you put some product of art out. People take it and they do what they will with it, and it's theirs. Then it's not yours; it's theirs.
Now, some people have been doing some stuff with your art.
Yeah.
1960 Watt is a really good example of that because I played it last week at a club. Okay, I played it at Ronnie Scott's.
Yeah.
People are out there dancing and they're singing back the line and they're doing the whole thing. And yet, of course, it's quite an angry song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you ever see it? Surely you couldn't have ever seen that being a dance anthem.
Well, that's in the tradition of the music. Definitely in the blues and in the 70s R&B, definitely in Brazilian music. There's a bit of the bitter and the sweet. You know, it's like it's funky, but there's also a story. It's not It's about the song is about the riots in Detroit and all over the United States in the 60s. It's not a celebration of the riots. It's a documentary conversation, musical conversation of the absurdity of injustice and the absurdity of the after effect of injustice. In both cases, on both sides, it's self-mutilation. To not treat some group of your society properly is self-mutilation, and to burn your own neighborhoods is completely self-mutilation. So it's, and what is old is new again,
So we've already heard how busy you are. Does that give you any time for thinking about new recordings or making any new recordings?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I've written and recorded the new album, and it's in the can. We're just doing the the artwork and finishing up the mastering now.
Great.
And that'll be forthcoming in the next few months.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. It has again, I told you I'm trying to come from an organic place and not feeling any pressure from radio or you know, best jazz vocal album, Grammy nomination. The pressure comes from what I feel
Yeah.
inside of me.
That's the way to go. You've got to remain ultimately the artist.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the way.
So the direction of the album is there's some swinging stuff on it, original swinging stuff. There's some, without question, what will be called some soul music.
Yeah.
And you know, tinged with R&B, some gospel feels. I'm paying respect to my mother in a song. So yeah, I'm excited. It's a lot about love, you know. You know, so my friends, you know, that I've let listen to it and said this is about love and family and life, and that's what I like to sing and talk about.
We talked about the fortunate accident that's been your career, which led to you being on stage. So I'm thinking maybe there's some more of that for you, or movie work. Consider that? Had the offers?
Oh, well, you know, there's a little film company in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And, you know, we always talk about something that, you know, they hear in my voice, my speaking voice, say, you know, I need to be commanding something. I don't know what I will be commanding, but I'll probably be featured in some role commanding something soon.
Yes.
No, I don't know. I'm open. I've done some acting and.
You could do the James Earl Jones voice, couldn't you? You could go.
No, it's
Simba.
not.
Simba.
I mean, have you heard that? I mean, that thing is unnatural. It's so deep and rich and cool.
Yeah, but it's all done with processing, though. You know, it is because you know I do this for a living myself. You know, okay, we're gonna make it really deep now.
Luke, you are my son.
There you are. They will process that and make that into you will be James Earl Jones II. There you go. That's the way to do it. Wow, you know, guys, we're loving you so much over here at the minute.
Yeah.
So will you keep on coming back, Gregory Porter?
I will. Thank you
very much.
Thank you so much, Nigel. Really appreciate it.